I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
Hey friends, and welcome back to Campione Reacts, where we get into the nitty gritty of, terrible internet trends. And this is another one. Well, actually, this might not be so bad. We're going to talk about like why men don't approach and how to approach and whether or not women should approach. I think this is going to be fun. Speaking of fun, I've got a fun panel here with me that includes amazing Joe Rosie. How you doing, Joe?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me.
Excellent. And Nadia, how are you doing, love? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here.
Well, and I'm very grateful you're here with us today. Tugs, I hope things are going well and you are prepared for this nonsense or non-nonsense. I don't know.
I'm never prepared.
All right, well, let's get started. Let's take a look at our first clip and let's have a genuine reaction here. And this one was created by the amazing Emily King, who's a great follow on YouTube and on TikTok, if you have such a thing, and many of the other platforms. She's just great.
I asked a bunch of girls, when was the last time a man approached you at a bar and started talking to you? And I thought this was just me thing, but they were all like, no, it hasn't happened in, I can't even tell you how long, like before COVID. And I thought that was a me experience. I was like, okay, maybe I give off like a standoffish vibe. I don't know. I don't think so. But no, they all agreed. They're like, I can't tell you the last time a man tried to talk to me at a bar. A man tried to offer to buy me a drink. Do men still do that? Men, can you weigh in? And I don't even need the drink, but like the last time, and I'll go up and talk to guys, but like, can someone explain?
Can somebody explain why wouldn't a man go up to a lady in a bar and, approach him and invite him, give him a drink to start a conversation? What could you think would go wrong with that, Joe Rosie?
I think that's actually, if I were a guy, I would be terrified with all these, the last few years, last 10 years, maybe I feel like, of women basically being like, you're scum if you come up to me, and just all this negativity. Some of it from the Me Too movement, like, oh my God, like somebody talked to me and I felt really uncomfortable. So if I were a guy, I would be second guessing myself. If it has to be a very, very serious connection for me to be like, I'm going to go up and talk to that woman.
Okay. And you know what? I'm going to point this question at Nadia specifically. Do you think it's a different situation if it's a super hot guy? Like if Henry Cavill walked up to you and like was going to hit on you and offer you a drink?
I mean, I think in this world, yes. I think looks have been the primary, I guess, instead of personality and all this stuff. I think younger generations are very, how's it, like, not materialistic, like very like, I don't know what the word is that I'm trying to think of, but shallow maybe, but they're very much like, it's all about on the outside versus what's in the inside. Would it be different if a hot guy approached a girl? Absolutely. I think in this generation, they would be like, oh my God, this hot guy approached me. Now, if it was just like I don't want to say mid, but like an average looking dude, I think that's where Joe's point of like, people go like, hey, don't talk to me. Or they go online and they say, oh, this creepy dude approached me at a bar. Or if they're with a group of friends too. And we all know this. We've all seen the meme of like some dude approaching a chick and then her not so attractive friends, like, she doesn't want to talk to you. Like, he's creepy. Like, doesn't allow that connection to happen. So, yeah.
So you're talking about the fridge in that situation. That's what we refer to it as, the fridge. The fridge keeps everything cold. But look, Tugs, is there other reasons you can think of that guys aren't just walking up to gals anymore and buying them a drink?
I mean, I don't know. Not the only other thing I can think of is that it's not easy. Most women, it's very rare that you have girls. I don't know about now, but it's pretty rare that you have girls going to the bar just like onesies and twosies. Like now that I'm older, yeah, like, hey, let's go. I'm in town. Like, let's go grab a drink. It's just the two of us. But usually, if you're at a bar, you're with a group of girls, which is intimidating in general. I am a girl, and approaching a group of girls is intimidating unless you're in the bathroom. So that could be a factor, maybe. It's just you and surrounded by like 5 or 6 of your girlfriends, and it's like, oh Lord. Now, not only do I have to possibly get rejected in general, which sucks, but now I gotta do it in front of all these girls too, where they're gonna be snickering behind your back, kind of thing. That could be a thing. That would be.
Can I introduce an idea to all three of you? We're in the age of cameras everywhere and social media. Do you think that
too,
may be
yeah.
why guys aren't approaching gals anymore?
Yeah.
Everything has to be documented online. Everything. And I think that harms the dating field. Also, I think the fact that people put certain expectations of dating online that aren't realistic. Like they put the good stuff or they put the extreme good stuff or they edit it a certain way and not realizing that's not the average dating experience for someone. So girls think like, "Oh, I'm supposed to get a Tiffany ring. He's supposed to pick me up in a very expensive car. He's supposed to take me to a very nice dinner and stuff like that." And they put that expectation online and not realizing that's not like the average Joe, like who's looking for a significant other that's not how dating really is. So yeah, it's similar to like wanting a big wedding, but not realizing a wedding is one day, a marriage is a lifetime kind of scenario.
And I think Joe was right originally. You don't want to come as a guy, you don't want to come off as creepy. I mean, and that's I don't want to be the creep and I don't want to be on video being the creep, you know. And again, it's we've all given the wrong media training to everybody out there because the minute they turn their camera on, they're going to edit it to, you know, tell whatever narrative they want to. That's not good for you.
I'm pushing back on the idea of if it's a super good looking guy, that's suddenly a pass. I think that I've had some going to creepy. I've had some creepy lines thrown at me by someone who's moderately attractive, and I'm like, okay, like maybe initially I'm like, oh, hello, and you open your mouth and it's like, wow, that was really unexpected.
Yeah.
So I think that for me at least is the bigger factor. Like when you come up to me, do not give me a creepy one-liner, especially about my appearance or I can't even tell you. Maybe off air, I'll tell you one that was just still kind of makes me go, it's just, please just be like human and just try a hello. I saw you from across the bar and I'd like to buy you a drink. Would you be interested? I don't need some quippy thing. You're not a comedian.
Like on the
Unless
Bachelor.
you are. Unless you are. All right. Well, I guess all of that is fair. I just think that it's going to continue to limit the pool of dudes that'll approach or do anything nice for a lady. And look, maybe this next clip is another example. Let's see.
Asking this, but when are you going to realize that there are consequences to your words and actions? It's because men would rather keep to themselves than to be called a creep, or at the very least be publicly embarrassed, or at worst be accused of something. A lot of women do not realize that because of social media, a lot of young men believe that women despise them. Between the 4B movement, the it's all men until no men, and picking the bear over the man, because of this, most of them assume that women genuinely want nothing to do with them.
I think Emily King is telling us essentially the same things we just said. So there's that. But no, honestly, we've got more clips I want to get into. So let's keep going.
Men don't go after women anymore nowadays. And part of the reason is that it's just become so hard because we women have become so demanding. Not that long ago, a marriage was seen as an economical agreement and the husband was expected to provide for his family and to protect his family. But in those days, we women were still financially dependent on men. But now that we make our own money, we don't just want a husband to be a provider or to protect us, but we want a husband who can really understand us, who can feel us emotionally, and who can help in the household, and wait a minute, who can also be a very good father to our kids.
Wow, that's a whole lot of truth bombs all in one run there. I'm going to say I agree with her. I think we've eliminated a lot of traditional roles, and I think that there is a reason why people, struggle. I think some of it, and especially when it comes to men approaching ladies, that you don't know what the expectations are going to be from either party, and yet before that was already outlined for us. What do you think of that, Tugs?
I agree. I also do think that at least going back to the more traditional thing where, women didn't work, maybe baking cookies and selling them at the school or whatever, I don't know, things like that. And the man took a more prominent role. There are instances, and even still to this day, where there are men out there that are all of those things where they can provide for you and be a good dad and understand you this way and understand you that way. But we are so caught up just as a whole in general now in stuff that doesn't matter. And then in the long run, you're looking back and you're going, why is this guy not the way that I want him to be? What is going on? But because he was never that way, but you were so caught up in maybe he's good in the bedroom, maybe he's got money, maybe he's this, maybe he's that. You're not looking at the character anymore. And that's a social media thing too, because character is not always so pretty, right? Character doesn't look like Pierce Brosnan not all the time. Character doesn't look like Brad Pitt all the time, that kind of thing. And so you're going for the aesthetic rather than what you need. And social media has ruined that too. On top of course, the feminism and women are working it, so there's a disproportionate balance and blah 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 blah, all that stuff. But
Nadia, I think that you and I are a little bit more old-fashioned than a lot of people these days. Do you think that it was the breaking down of the roles or what would be a traditional life that actually shifted a lot of these dynamics?
I think a lot of people look at traditional life and put a lot of negativity to it, thinking that women all of a sudden lose their rights just if they're pushed back into a more traditional role. I am of the line of feminism did do a lot of damage, but also why if I want to be a housewife and a mother, isn't that my right as a feminist to do that? Like, why is that perceived as negative? I also wanted to say earlier in the one clip, the worst thing you can do to a man, I think, is publicly embarrass them. That is like one of the worst things you can do, I think. And I think that aligns with the fact that social media, that's why men don't want to approach women. It's because they don't want the embarrassment. Because as soon as you hurt their ego, that's a big thing for them. I don't think in putting a lot of personal stuff online when you come to relationships. But yeah, I'm very traditional. I wish I didn't have to work for corporate America. I girl bossed a little too hard. I believe my husband is the head of the household and he makes the final decisions on things. But I married somebody who looks at me as a partner and takes in what I have to say and stuff. And he's a good husband. He's my best friend. And eventually I 100% believe he's going to be a good father. So I think you just have to realize who you're aligned with when you're dating and not have the online expectation that you're going to get, I don't know, Fabio with a multi-million-dollar mansion and like all that, because all that stuff can go away in a day. And what happens if you end up in the poorhouse? You're going to be in the poorhouse with the same person. So is this the person you want to be able to rebuild and go through those struggles with?
You know, that's a great sentiment and a good idea. And I'm going to reiterate something that you said. Men do not recover from or tolerate that level of disrespect. If you try to publicly shame or use shaming language about your man in public, if he ever finds out you've done it, even within your girlfriend's group, that will put you in the penalty box, perhaps forever. Joe, what do you think? Do you think that that woman was right about why so many relationships are breaking apart and why men just don't have any interest in it?
I think she is partially right, but I also think it's women just looking in one direction and not realizing they also have responsibilities in their relationship. So, they're expecting the protector, the person who provides. It's like, okay, that's looking a little different now that we have, dual income households. And then they want a lot more things. But it's like, so what are you bringing? Because I've seen a lot of these clips where the woman's like, well, I don't wash his clothes. Well, I don't cook his dinner, but he's got to do this and he's got to do that. It's like, what's in it for him? It's a partnership. You both give towards each other and come together to build a home and be good parents and have a good relationship and provide to each other what the other person needs. And if I want you to be a protector, am I going to be a loving wife that might like, hey, you just got home from work. Let me like massage your shoulders and your back. Like, give back.
Yeah, and that's, I think, what a lot of people miss. I think, and we've had this conversation before. We will have it again, but the people are looking for a wedding and not a marriage because they don't understand that partnership situation. You're going to hear that from a lot of the clips that we have, especially for people that have come from our perspective. That a wedding is one day, a wedding reception is a few hours. But you are building a lifetime partnership that, as Nadia suggested, and as Tugs has agreed, we need to be with a person that we can go through thick and thin with. That's the whole point. That's what it's actually in the vows, in sickness and in health. It's a conversation that's a broader one. But we have another reaction here I want to jump on that I think will be interesting anyway.
But it's not just because we're financially independent that we have these expectations. It's also that society, the way it's set up, has changed completely. We used to live in a society in which we had a whole support system around us. We would have barbecues with the neighbor on the corner every Sunday. We would drink coffees with our neighbor every morning, and we would discuss our problems. But nowadays, because we also work, we live way more isolated, and the time we have off, we spend more and more with this one person who's our husband. And what that looks like in reality is that we sit on the sofa at night and we watch TV together. We look at rom-coms in which the man goes through hell and back to win a woman's heart. So besides the fact that practically seen we expect more from our man, our brains are also fed with all these fantasies about how relationships should and could be. And men have stopped to go after women because they freak out with the thought that they have to deliver all these things that women expect nowadays.
Wow. And again, I'm so glad we continued on there because she's right. Everything she said was spot on, and it's very much the dividing line in relationships. Any responses from that, ladies?
She's right about the neighbor thing. I talk about this all the time. I've talked about it with the Extra Girl and Poor Choices multiple times. We as a people, like, forget the neighbor thing. You know, as a millennial growing up, that's all I wanted. I wanted to be the parent with my husband sitting on the driveway with our neighbors, having some beers while I watch the kids play in the street, you know, whatever. Like that's, and like a lot of millennials, we didn't do that. It didn't happen that way. We can't afford our homes. That's a whole nother conversation, but forget that aspect of it. Traditionally, up until maybe even 100 years ago, I would say, you didn't go very far, right? You grew up and you moved out of the house and you got married, but you still were there. You didn't go across, like, it's very rare for a kid to grow up and move across the country, right? Maybe a little further, maybe this. So that's only a recent thing. And it's so isolating. It's very isolating because you no longer have your family, which is your support system around you, depending on where you move. It's very hard to make friends, especially nowadays. We can take the blame for phones on that one and social media on that one, and just the times in general. It's very hard to make friends the older you get and all this stuff. So you literally don't have your support system. So when you're working, if you are a single mom or if you're a stay-at-home mom, you don't have that village. Takes a village. Well, it's a saying for a reason, because there literally used to be a village. You literally have a village. In Africa, they still practice this, where is if the women that are pregnant, the other women take up the slack and help her with her kids and help her do this. And they take the village and do it. And we don't have that anymore. And humans as a whole have gotten so disconnected. We don't like each other. We don't say hi on the street. We don't do any of that anymore. And it's really made an impact, a negative impact on everybody's mental health. It's made an impact on everybody's dating life, because men don't want to approach because of social media, but they also don't want to approach because nobody talks to each other anymore. So it's just like, it's all this big giant snowball that hasn't hit the ground yet. It's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And she's spot on. And it's sad. It's sad to watch. Really
so you're talking about the loss of community, which I 100% agree with, and I think that I think the change in the language and the attitudes about moving far away from your small town to the big city really was a negative in a broader way, in a bigger way than any of us could possibly understand. And then there was the forced movement to get as many people to go to college, and that starts their life in debt, and we can get into all that thing. All those things in the future. But Nadia, you were about to say something.
So I am in a scenario where I had to move away from my family due to health reasons. So like I was forced to, but I will say, as somebody who comes from a culture that homes are generational. So like I grew up with my grandmother living in the house. I crave being around my family, and it's just the way I've been raised. Like I miss my I'm the oldest of 8. I miss my sisters every single day. Like I want to be around them, but unfortunately I can't because of my health. Hopefully one day that changes. But I go through weeks at a time where I notice that I miss the family parties. I'm half Middle Eastern. We're always together. When I was over in Jordan, every single night my aunts would put out a big table and all of us would just sit around, cousins, siblings, and aunts, uncles, and just, it's a community. And it's the same thing. Like when my sister had her 2 kids, all of us we're around her the whole time. So I think it's in a way that there's a negative outlook of generational homes. Like if you live with your parents, ooh, that's a taboo. Or if your grandparents live with you, and you're supposed to distance yourself from your parents and your family. And I think that's, in a sense, I think it's wrong. I think you should cherish the people you have around you. Now, if you're in a toxic or abusive situation, that's a different thing. But I think there's been too much push of like, as soon as I'm 18, I'm out of the house. My dad was never like that. You actually stay in the house till you get married, And then again, if one of even my in-laws who aren't even Middle Eastern, something were ever happen, one of them, the other one, I said, oh, they're moving with us. That's it. Like I'm just how I'm raised. And I think
Yeah.
that's a disconnect that's happening a lot. And it bleeds into like not having community, into the dating, what you're looking for.
Yeah. Joe, I agree with Nadia. I mean, is it the loss of community that may be part of what's causing divide, but not only between the genders, or I should say the sexes, because I hate that word gender, but is that what's happening? Is that part of it anyway?
I agree with that being part of it. And I too, as Nadia was talking, was feeling that very much. I moved away from my family. It's only like a 4-hour drive, but I used to literally walk to my sister's house and spend like every weekend with her, or just, hey, you want to go for a run? I would run to her house and we would keep running. So I really miss that element. So when you are this disconnected lack of community, you tend to, as she said in the video, your significant other sometimes is your only person around. And then you become dependent on them. Like, you're not listening to what I was talking about what happened at work because you don't care. It's like, understand they are listening to you probably like all day long, especially now that a lot of us work remotely or, don't have that, outlet to talk to people. So that combined with what you said about the bar being so high set by media. I mean, I grew up watching rom-coms. I grew up reading, romantic novels where this guy is this unrealistic person who's perfect and all they want to do is listen to you. No, they don't. They want to go and watch football and drink a beer, so you're going to get this like feeling of being hurt when they just feel like, babe, the bills are on right now. Just, can we talk about this later?
Well, and again, defending the men here, we like peace. I know that seems weird, but we like our quiet time and look, and we like to climb in the nothing box, and not think about anything. Believe it or not, it's possible, ladies. You can do that. You don't have to think about everything that's happening. Yeah. Whereas go ahead.
Men's brains are wired to solve a problem, not to. We're the ones that have more emotional, like, oh girl, let's talk about it. And kind of men are like, what can I do when they hear you? And I think that's a lot of with the miscommunication. Men go, what can I do to solve the problem, to help you, versus not realizing they just need us to vent and just let us just.
I always tell Duke, I just need you to listen. I'm gonna girl rant at you.
I don't need you to solve anything.
Because the first time I tried to girl rant at him, he was like, okay, so stop hanging out with those people. And I was like, what? There you go.
Okay, first of all, solution, dwelling. We solve. You live in the problem. We don't want to live in the problem. We want it to go away. So,
yeah, I was like, I don't need solutions. I need to vent. And he's like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
And then he usually does something afterwards, like, oh my God, girl, I can't believe he did that. Just to be like super facetious about it. But yeah, I have to tell him beforehand. Otherwise, he's like, here's how you solve this. I'm like, I don't want to solve it. I want to wallow in my drama.
I promise you, if you tell your guy before you present him with whatever box you've been living in for like a week, that's been frustrating you, that you love to dwell in, just tell your guy you don't want a solution right before you start talking about it. Because then I promise you, while he may look like he checked out, he definitely checked out while you were talking to him. Yeah. Because he can't solve the problem.
Nope.
And maybe he's a little bit more emotionally mature. I like to pretend that I am. But like, if you bring me the problem, there's no way I'm not thinking about a solution, because then it clears it out of my head for other stuff, or nothing at all. You guys should try nothing. It's so much better. I'm just saying.
We literally cannot. We literally cannot turn our brains off. We can't. Yeah.
Well, I would like to help you with that. But anyway, let's react to this last clip. I'm enjoying today especially. This is great.
So let me tell you the real reason why men don't approach you. It's because you give off effort. You give off you got to put in energy for me. You give off, I'm going to be work, and it's not going to be easy for you. And when men are on the hunt, they don't want women who are going to take work, take effort, and take time. They want the lowest hanging fruit that's easiest to pick. And so while it may seem like you're not getting approached because you're not approachable or you're not attractive or you're not desirable, it's really because they see your value and they're not willing to approach a woman who's going to require something of them. When you're out and about in the real world, it's not about the quantity of men. It's about the quality. Even if it's just one, it means that your energy is where it's supposed to be. It means that you are properly aligned with your femininity. It means that you are positioned to be loved and not just to be hunted.
Okay, I'm going to do something I don't normally do on this show. I'm going to react first and say, don't be a challenge. Don't be a challenge. Don't be a problem. This is not that men do not want to have a problem. Men want quiet. They want peace. You can certainly, have your own challenges, but do not present yourself as the effort is not worth it. Right? Because you will not get a man. If you are if you're putting out there, I am more work than what I am a reward, dudes are out. Okay. I just wanted to get there first. I don't normally do this. On this reaction, though, I'm going to let Nadia start first because she might be upset with me.
I was first of all, I was a Hollywood liberal. So I was very, very, yeah. My husband showed me the light. So I was definitely probably a challenge. Especially also, I come from a very large family of a lot of women in my family, and my husband has one brother. So I was definitely but I'm pretty logical when it comes to a lot of things, and I'm open-minded, so I was willing to have conversations and stuff. But yeah, I have nothing to say on this because I was definitely a challenge.
Fair enough. Joe, let's get your thoughts on being a problem for a guy.
Well, I mean, I definitely, like, if I'm putting myself in those shoes of a man who's scoping out and, hey, look, that girl's really cute. And then I see her being rude to the waitress, or, I'm listening to their conversation, and I'm like, whoa, what is going on with that? Yeah, I'm not approaching that girl. Or she's just a nasty human being. I'm not approaching that girl. I definitely think, like, what you said with the resting bee face or anything like that, it's not because you're unapproachable. That could also be it, honestly. If you just have to, like, make sure, like, if you're interested and you see someone, like, kind of scoping you up, like, how hard is it to, like, just smile, or just seem approachable? But yeah, definitely, like, be mindful if you are single and on the hunt for the next partner. Make sure that you're not being your worst self outside. Be mindful of that.
Hey, look, you can just be yourself and project yourself as, a superior masculine, specimen, which a lot of women do now. And I don't know, Tugs, do you think that men are looking for problems?
I think there's a difference. I think that all women are a challenge. All right, that's the point of the hunt. But there are ones that are your high maintenance challenges, and that's what the guy for long term. They're not looking for that, right? Those are your I'm going to take this home. It's going to be a fun time, or maybe we have a fling or whatever. Your long-term ones are not going to be that kind of a high maintenance challenge. There's still going to be a challenge because we women are just challenging in general. We're a hot mess. Okay. Fully admit it. But there's a difference between challenge. There's a challenge of, I want to better myself for this girl because I really like her. She's got her head on straight. She's smart. She's this, she's everything I'm looking for. I don't think I'm good enough, so I'm going to challenge myself to be better. There's that kind of a challenge. There's the challenge where the woman herself is the challenge, where she's got 6-inch nails and she's got a $300 spray tan and she gets her hair done every 2 weeks and she demands a certain income and blah, 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 and this and other. That's the challenge the guys don't want. I think that if they're really, in my experience, from what I've seen, and the few successful relationships that I've seen, if there is a woman that is not challenging in the what's the word, the shallow aspect of it, she's not that way, but she's challenging in she makes you want to do better for yourself or do better for her or whatever, that there's a difference. So when you're out in about and you're flaunting your whatevers and all that stuff, that makes you unapproachable, because at least in the long term, because nobody's want to deal with that. I don't want to deal with that as a girlfriend. I don't want to deal with that. Like as a girl, I don't want to deal with that as my friend. Like, you settle down, it's okay. Like, your hair got wet, oh no, the horror, that kind of thing. So I think that there's different challenges, but the guy that really wants the girl is going to rise to whatever that challenge is, not the high maintenance side of it, to be worthy of that girl, and the girl should too, vice versa, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's my spiel. Did that make sense? I have no idea. I was rambling.
It is better to live on the corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow. Oh, okay.
I will just say that's really how almost all men feel. Perhaps there are some that are looking for an alpha female. I just don't know any.
No.
I just don't know any.
That's your high maintenance.
What is an
girlies.
alpha female? What is it? Because is an alpha female like a high maintenance female, or
Jada
no,
Pinkett.
somebody that has to take
Jada
charge
Pinkett Smith is
all
an
the
alpha
time?
female. Jada Pinkett.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the best example.
Okay.
She's the best
Yeah,
one.
and that's true. I mean, and I'm just going to tell you, men don't want that, right? And again, if you are an insecure man, which is another one that's shaming language out there that's used constantly. If you're an insecure man, you don't think you'll ever be able to get the person that you have at the time. And so you won't challenge a woman who's trying to be the leader in the household. That's all that comes down to. This is one of the few times that I think that some of the people in the sphere of the manosphere or the dude, bros or whatever, it's one of the few times I agree with them, because it's like you can only have, and you already know this, Nadia, but you can only have one leader in a pack. You just, sorry, this is something that's ingrained in humanity and animal behavior and everything else. If you're a mammalian of any sort, there can only be one leader in a pack. Mm-hmm. And in a household, that's your pack, whether it be kids, whether it be grandparents, what it is, the man of the house, quote unquote. Ladies, some of you are going to be mad at me. It's fine. But the man is supposed to be, and is, in a proper situation that's quiet and peaceful, is the leader of the household. And that's just the way it is.
What's the saying? Men are the head of the house, the women are the neck.
The neck. I love that. My big fat.
Turn the head, can persuade the head whichever way.
Yeah.
It's support to the head. Yeah. It's just, and it goes back to like the 50-50 thing. Relationships aren't 50-50. And I agree with Joe. As a woman, you have to bring something to the table. You have to be your man's peace. You have to be the person that he can just be at peace with around, and that he doesn't have to be on toes with all the time. He can be himself and relaxed. And if you're not your man's peace, something's wrong in the relationship.
Well, and that, you know what, this is going to allow us to give Joe Rosie the final say in this particular reaction video. So what do you think? Do you think that this problem and this lady is experiencing something because she tries to be too alpha for a guy, or is she turning them off in a different way?
That could definitely be a contributing factor, and I agree with Nadia on that. I think that this is a big push. I don't know if it's because of women going into the workforce. I myself, just like Nadia, am a corporate cog. I'm a girl boss, and it definitely has empowered women, or maybe they see it as empowered women to be like, well, I'm calling the shots in my job. I don't need no man. I don't need no man to tell me what to do at home. I don't know why I got that accent all of a sudden. Sorry. But that's definitely what you said. It's like, it's very difficult to run a ship with two captains. It's too many cooks in the kitchen, and it's totally fine to be the support. It's not degrading for a woman to be, going to the man and being like, hey, sweetie, like, we have this issue. What do you think? And kind of let him guide you, because that is traditionally what we do as women, as a species. The man generally tends to run the tribe. So some women nowadays have a very hard time with that, and I think that is also a huge stumbling block in a lot of relationships.
Very well spoken, and I couldn't agree more. And I will say this, this is just the beginning of this channel, and yet everything we've tackled so far, and especially in the last 3 segments, I will just say these issues aren't going to go away without each of us thinking about it and how we want the world to be. And I want to say thank you to Joe Rosie. Go check her out on her channel. It's down in the description below, along with Nadia over there at Horror with Nads, which I personally enjoy because I'm a horror fan. And of course, Tugs, who just games and does pretty much everything. There isn't anything I haven't seen her do before. So check her out, and do check out all their channels and their social media stuff down in the comment section below. And of course, on the channel recommended channels here in the banner on the main channel itself. On that note, for Campione Reacts, see ya.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. Wake up, today's gonna be a good